If you are a former Filipino who have been naturalized in a foreign country, you are not obligated to become a dual citizen. Now, if you wanted to have the rights and privileges of being a Filipino again, then you must apply for dual citizenship. You must apply at the nearest Philippine consulate covering your residence. Please take note that there is a territorial jurisdiction for all Philippine consulates abroad. Now, the real challenge is securing an online spot for your dual citizenship oath taking. It only costs around $50 to apply for dual citizenship, so you might as well avail of this privilege. Now, there is an important question. Is it possible for Filipinos to hold dual citizenship or more than one citizenship at the same time? The answer is yes. Holding more than one citizenship is possible for Filipinos, especially when conflict of nationality laws is concerned. For example, a child born in the USA of Filipino parents is an American citizen under US law and a Filipino citizen under Philippine law. This is because American citizenship is derived from the territory in which the person was born, while Philippine citizenship is derived from the parents' citizenship. So children born outside of the US of Filipino parents have derivative citizenship and do not need an oath taking. 3 pages to the dual citizenship documents. The first page is the oath of allegiance, and the second page is the identification certificate number, and the third page is the order of approval. Now, if you don't have a Philippine passport, you can also use your foreign passport and your dual citizenship documents to travel in the Philippines. It's Republic Act number 9225, which is the Philippine Citizenship Retention and Reacquisition Law of 2003. It is actually a privilege accorded only to those in compliance with the law and existing regulations. Now, if you're a former Filipino that does not want to or cannot apply for dual citizenship but want to stay in the Philippines longer than allowed, you can do the following. First, you can apply for a 9A visa, and second, you can also apply for a balikbayan visa, which grants a 1-year privilege of stay in the Philippines. And just a word of advice, please check first with your foreign country of birth or naturalization if it allows dual citizenship. Now, how does one reacquire Philippine citizenship under RA 9225? Natural-born Filipinos who lost their Filipino citizenship through naturalization in a foreign country may reacquire Philippine citizenship by taking the Philippine Oath of Allegiance before a duly authorized Philippine official. The Philippine Oath of Allegiance does not require a person to renounce his allegiance to any other country. Now, who are natural-born Filipinos? Those who are citizens of the Philippines from birth without having to perform any act to acquire or perfect their Philippine citizenship. These are persons born after January 17, 1973 whose fathers or mothers are citizens of the Philippines at the time of their birth, or those born before January 17, 1973 to a Filipino father or mother, and that person elects Philippine citizenship upon reaching the age of majority, which is 18. Now, let's talk about those children who were born abroad of a Filipino parent. You actually have a derivative Filipino citizenship and not dual citizenship. So that means that you already have Filipino citizenship, and the Filipino parent abroad must report your birth to the Philippine consulate covering your residence so you can apply for a Philippine passport. So derivative Filipino citizenship is only applicable to those children of Filipinos born abroad or born outside of the Philippines. You actually don't have to do the oath taking. Another important question, does one who requires Filipino citizenship need to reside in the Philippines? The answer is no. You don't need to reside in the Philippines. Residency in the Philippines is not required of those who wish to reacquire or have reacquired Filipino citizenship. Those who intend to vote in local elections, however, must establish residence in the locality where they wish to vote. So, if you wanted to vote in a local elections, you must be in the Philippines. Why do you need to become a dual citizen? There are a lot of rights and privileges of becoming a dual citizen. Now, let's move on to the rights and privileges on reacquiring Filipino citizenship. There are a lot of rights and privileges that I will share with you today. First is the right to travel. Filipinos have the right to travel unless you are coming from a red list country, which is equivalent to a travel ban. But generally, Filipinos can travel as long as you have the necessary immigration requirements. During the pandemic, Filipinos have less restrictive travel protocols for quarantine and testing purposes. In addition, you can stay indefinitely in the Philippines because you are a Filipino. Another right is the right to own land and property in the Philippines. Generally, there is a prohibition to own land among foreign nationals. Another right is the right to engage in business or commerce as a Filipino. Another right is the right to practice a profession. Make sure to comply with the requirements of the appropriate body or agency. Another right is the right to vote in Philippine national elections. This is very timely, especially for the upcoming presidential elections. Can one who requires Filipino citizenship vote in the Philippines? Yes, if you have required Filipino citizenship, you may vote in the elections provided that you comply with the residency requirements under existing Philippine election law. However, you can also vote abroad in Philippine national elections such as president, vice president, senators, and sectoral representatives under the Overseas Voting Act of 2003. Now, you can only elect officials in the national elections but not local elections because it will require your residency. So what is the effect of dual citizenship on the payment of income taxes? This is one of the most important questions because a lot of Filipinos are planning to retire in the Philippines. Under RA 8424, only income derived from the Philippines are taxed by the Philippine government. In 1976, however, the Philippines and United States signed a treaty on taxation in order to avoid double taxation for Filipinos who derive income from the US and for Americans who derive income from the Philippines. However, please consult the IRS regarding taxation. If you are a US citizen or a resident alien, the rules for filing income, estate, and gift tax returns and paying estimated tax are generally the same whether you are in the US or abroad. Your worldwide income is subject to US income tax regardless of where you reside. So please remember this. If you're a US citizen, wherever you are in the world, you must file an income tax return. However, there are income requirements. Now, as a Filipino citizen, can one spouse who is a foreign national live in the Philippines? An immigrant visa may be issued to a Filipino citizen's foreigner spouse, which entitles him or her to permanently reside in the Philippines. Said visa may be obtained by applying at Philippine embassies or consulates general. The effectivity of the visa, however, is contingent upon the Filipino citizen's retention of his or her Filipino citizenship. Now, let's talk about the children. What is the citizenship status of one's children after he or she requires Filipino citizenship? Now, here is the answer. If his or her children are unmarried and below 18 years of age, upon reacquisition of Filipino citizenship, his or her children are recognized as Filipino citizens under Philippine laws and are entitled to the rights and privileges attendant thereto. Now, if a Filipino citizen chooses to travel to the Philippines with his or her foreign spouse and children, do the spouse and children need to secure additional travel documents from the Philippine Embassy or Consulate General before leaving? The answer is no. There's what we call a balikbayan visa. Now, under the balikbayan law, a Filipino citizen's foreign spouse and children do not need to secure other travel documents, and they will be allowed visa-free entry to the Philippines for 1 year, provided they have a round-trip ticket and that they travel with a Filipino spouse or parent. There is no cost to the balikbayan visa, and the family must go to the Filipino lane to avail of this and must tell the immigration officer upon arrival. Thank you guys for supporting my channel, and if you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.